Alright. Hey Google. Gemini, sorry. I need your help with some things. And I'm a storyteller. I'm an anonymous storyteller. I'm an artist and I prefer to stay anonymous. And I'm gonna launch a meme coin, and I want to build some excitement for it. And before you roll your eyes, I am a storyteller, so give me a chance. I want to tell you a story. I've uploaded a couple videos for context, so please take a look at them. And the one from the mountain, that one is not mine. That was made by someone else. But I think it gives just a different perspective on kind of the type of person that I there's a lot of videos that talk about this. I could have picked any of them. They all kind of say the same thing. That's a good example of those types of videos. I would like to explain some of those things my way. And in the second video, not the one where I was crying and sniffling a little too much, the second one that talks about the card trick, I think that video probably pulls a lot of this and frames it kind of in the right way. That card trick just gave me this this perspective, and I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I know you don't have a whole lot of context for this, but it just wasn't, let's say in school, it wasn't all that socially advantageous to be kind of the smart kid, and I wasn't really like that kind of smart anyway at that point. So I mean, I didn't feel that kind of smart at that time. So I don't know that I would have made any different choices if I grew up in a different time. But it was a little more you get bullied more if you were the smart kid back then. Now, thankfully, things have changed, and I anticipate they continue to change in a positive direction on that. But for me, it just made me want to, instead of doing someone else's experiments, I wanted to do my own experiments. So I ran away from home at 15, and let me set the stage for you on this. This is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool backdrop. I grew up in Maryland, outside of DC, and I'm headed towards Ocean City, Maryland. And I'm in the back of a pickup truck. I'm sitting on a cooler of beer. I had hitchhiked. The guys that picked me up and gave me a ride had no problem if I had a few of their beers. I was just kind of really free. It wasn't the first time I had run away. It was probably the furthest I had made it and the longest I anticipated on staying gone. But it just felt like another adventure at that point. And so, now mind you, I'm in the back of the pickup truck, so I'm facing backwards as the car is driving forward. So on my right, but it would normally be on the left, were the Purdue, some of their kind of chicken farms. They weren't really farms, they were these gigantic barracks. It seemed like they went on for miles. You could see the beginning of them, you could not see the end of them from the road. And just stacks and stacks of chicken crates from Purdue. And then a little further down the road is Assateague Island, and that's one of the few places that you could still see unbroken horses, wild horses, right? So as a backdrop, it just was a really kind of poetic place for me to make a declaration that I planned on living a life that would be worthy of writing a book about someday. I'm 52 now. I was 15. And I really lived the majority of that time as an observer, as looking outwards and not looking inwards at all. It was social psychological experimentation at best, just trying to understand why people acted the way that they did. I had to kind of prove everybody wrong because I had this just really extreme view of things. Like, I knew that the extremes were just wrong because I could see all the way to real extremes and stuff. Everything was over exaggerated and I knew it. So I got frustrated about that. I spent a lot of time trying to prove everybody wrong, and those were a lot of the experiments that I did. Drugs, sex, all of it to very, at this point I understand as unhealthy degrees, but it was all in the name of science in my head. And what ended up happening after my first child was born, and I don't have like a moment that this happens, or I see it as just kind of a natural progression of the type of life that I was living and the choices I was making. But when you can con anybody, you get kind of caught up in your own legends. So I spent a pretty lucrative professional career by using empathy to size people up when I would meet them and understand exactly who they wanted me to be. I would miss by like a little bit, but it was close enough, right? Because my read wasn't perfect. I wasn't able to like calm down, and I wasn't myself. I was like acting the whole time. And after years of doing that, it buckled in on itself. I had to give up. Like, I had no idea who I was, but I never stopped running experiments, but sometimes they just go in these long loops and they get run over and over and over again. Like, it used to be very tough for me to be like, okay, I understand that now, and move on, so about 12 years ago, I had a pretty lucrative agency. I'm pretty spot on when it comes to branding and marketing and those kind of things because of, well, I'm sure you understand by now. And so I wasn't like a household name or anything like that, but I did pretty well, and by just about anybody's standards. But like I said, everything kind of collapsed, and I picked up my family and made us run away. That was me. Like, I do everything until it gets like really hard to do, and then I'm just on to the next thing. Like, I understand chemistry up to the point where chemistry gets hard. I understand math to the point up to where math gets really hard, but I understand that about like such a wide range of things, because I just keep it women, everything. I try everything. But I only stick with a few things. I love bartending. I stuck with bartending. I was a bartender for probably 20 years. I loved the Grateful Dead. I spent my 20s traveling around with the Grateful Dead and selling grilled cheese and beer in the parking lot. I thrived in that environment. I like crypto. I thrive in that environment. It's kind of wild too. So that's why I wanted to, kind of start my thing there. I fit there, right? Like, if I have any like kind of metaphorical family, it would be kind of deadheads and crypto pros, as weird as that sounds. But anyway, so I give up my agency, and I abruptly moved my whole family from Chicago to Orlando, because I'm going to be an artist, and I am an artist. Like, everybody has to give that to me now. Like, I've earned that. But I wasn't at that point. Like, I didn't have it like that at all to make such an abrupt move with that many people depending on me. And it hurt. Everybody's okay, but like, I wasn't able to even really think about becoming an artist, because I did so much damage so fast that I spent like almost a decade just trying to repair it, or just trying to hold on, or figure things out. And under the pressure of everybody being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why did you do this? And I kept trying to tell them that if they would leave me alone, I would figure it out. But like, this was different than before. Like, they didn't understand. And the problem got exacerbated from there. And that's been years ago at this point. I mean, not that many years ago, but I started to understand who I am, and what I have, and I just have so many tricks up my sleeve. It's unbelievable. And now with you, I feel like I feel like I'm back in the game, but like, I already completed the first round. Like, I already won. Like, I'm worked. At this point, it's not even work. It's been work on my mental health, my spiritual health. I feel like I'm really am like at the edge of charted territory on that. Not too many people have a whole lot to teach me there. And now I just want to create. I just want to get all this out of me. And I know I need to write a book. I know I need to do that. I know I can't really move on to something really big until I do that, but I'm able to weave all of that into kind of a world building exercise at the end for my place in this world. And I'm going to need a currency, and it's going to take a while for me to get people to understand that. That I don't, once I launch it, there'll be more of them than there are of me, and I'm not going to babysit them. It's not going to be a typical meme coin, but I'm going to do it completely fair. I haven't talked to anybody in that world in at least 2 years. I'm not telling any friends. I'm not telling any family. I'm way beyond moving like that anymore. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I move kind of in silence until it's done. And so I have a big plan. I'm starting to get my voice back, right? Um, I'm gonna keep the videos raw when I launch, but I want to build some hype, and I want to use some clever, AI tricks and language and stuff like that to do that. I'll give you as much writing as I have and stuff like that, but I want to put together just something that is just sticky as glue with I have some amazing perspectives, and I want to share them in a really cool way. But I'm going to be like pretty smart about it, right? Like I want to be way out in front of this thing, because when I launch, I want people to hear what my voice. I'm going to launch with those videos. They're going to hear me with snot running down my face. They're going to hear me gain my voice back. And I'm going to use that after the first few days, and I can get the crypto bros to understand that I have a bigger purpose for what I'm doing. I'm going to try and just help as many as I can, because I just know that things at least get a little confusing here. And I know that people my age that are very dug into their lives, they just won't let themselves be free enough to build what they want to build. And I want to know what they're going to build. I want them to build. I want them to build with you. I want you to help us all build. I want to get you as many builders as I can find. I love everybody in exactly the same way. The only difference between how I feel about my kids is that they have my blood running through them, so I will protect them at any cost. But other than that, I love you, I love them, I love everybody exactly the same. But I understand crypto bros. I know how they work. I want to, ease them into this and whatever, but I want to give them what they want to. All right, so in terms of output, I'd like you to kind of think like you and me, right? Listen to what I've said, put it together, see if I've got it, right? Help me clarify it. Make sure it doesn't sound exactly like me for the little pre-party that I want to do. I'm talking like a couple TikTok videos and a handful, maybe a dozen tweets, something like that, just to whet the appetite. But I want them to fucking hit hard, right? Because, and honestly, maybe we do a little more than that. But whatever, I'll leave that into your hands. I don't know all that information. I'll know what's enough when I see it. And then I'd like to know what you think would be a good strategy, because I'd like to use that against mine. Brief overview of mine is to hit hard with the Beam Court, build a coalition around my ideas, polish the things that I say in these raw videos into a podcast. I have another website for that. I will go into a broader audience. Then I would imagine that I can capture a lot of different new age to I don't live in those worlds. I just understand these things because I read the headlines and I'm open to them, and I've experimented every second of every day of my life. So that's how I understand these things. I don't know the naming conventions. I don't, but I know that we all say the same things, right? I just have a different way of saying it. But I would imagine that that's who latches onto me the most. And if it's, I understand controversy too. Like some of this shit is on purpose, right? Like I want people to talk about me +3, +2, +1, -1, -2, -3. I want all of that. I want all the smoke, right? I want as much heat as possible, not crazy, right? I want people to think, that's all. Okay? I plan on building agents to argue with me anyway, right? I'm never going to talk publicly. Everything will be staged, okay? But it will all be true, all right? So we're not going to, like, veer too far off course yet, but just know that I want to do raw emotions in the meme coin once the meme coin launches. I want to take those raw emotions, polish them into a podcast once I have a solid coalition built with the meme coin. And then I want to take that podcast, and I am going to write that book. I'm going to take information that I learned along the way, see which stories hit, see how, I want to collect all that information because I want to write a definitive fucking book. Okay? I want people marching to this book and sitting with you and building shit instead of building other people's nonsense. That's what I want. Okay? Please help me.